Today, we're actually going to be going over some of the DNA testing that I do. So, my mantra is always let's test, not guess. And I want to educate on this. So, even though I'm partnered with Nucleogenics, now they are known as an MLM. However, I don't work it as an MLM. If you want to work it, that's totally fine. I don't know what tips to give you. I don't know anything like that. I use it solely for diagnostic purposes and for the custom nutrition that they provide because we can be taking all of the supplements out there. We can be taking all the right multivitamins, but if we're not absorbing it correctly due to our genes not working correctly, then we've just got my favorite phrase. Mary has heard me say this lots. Really expensive urine. Okay, so let's break it down. So, Nucleogenics is a US company. They are regulated by HIPAA, which is their Medical Privacy Act, and they are regulated by the CLIA, which is in like Freedom of Information Act, which if you commit a crime, the police, the FBI, the CIA, the government cannot go knocking on Nucleogenics' door and says, "Give us their DNA, we demand it." They are legally bound not to. They cannot sell your DNA like other DNA companies can, and therefore nobody has access to it. Your privacy is completely protected. You are a number to them, not a name. So that's the first and foremost things that I want to put out there is that they are very different from other DNA companies that say that they do DNA testing for health. So when you get your DNA test done, you get 4 reports. I'm going to go over the first 2 that I focus on in my business. So the first one is the Healthy Aging Report. This is what your customized supplement would be made from. The second report that I focus on, and this is just recently in the last 2 years, because I've had clients that have needed more information, is the healthy weight management report. Okay. So this one I go into a little bit less detail because you get all of the information with the healthy aging report, but nevertheless, there is really key information which we will go over today. All right. So you'll get a report like this. It all comes with PDF. The other 2 reports that you get that I don't touch on is a healthy sport report, which if you are a fitness trainer, if you are in the fitness industry, this is really beneficial because it tells you exactly what exercises are beneficial for your client and which one will actually harm them more based on their genetics. So you could be doing all the HIIT classes and actually causing yourself harm. You could be doing all the yoga classes and actually be causing yourself harm. And then there's a healthy skin report. Now, those have been following me for a while know that my first passion was aesthetics, so I'm all about the skin. The skin is the largest organ of the body and your first layer of defense when it comes to your immune system. Anything that you touch within 6 seconds will start absorbing right into the bloodstream. So it's really important what we use on our skin, what we come in contact with, and what we put into our bodies that can affect our skin negatively. So anything that's happening internally, our skin is going to start showing. This is how the body starts whispering to you. So if you've got eczema, if you've got dry patches, if you've got, those little mysterious bumps that pop up, that's an indicator that something is going on inside the body. All right, so moving forward, you get 4 PDFs that look like that. And all of them go into who Nucleogenics is, what they believe in. I'm not going to go over that. Your table of contact, your health span. So they believe in a health span, not a lifespan. And typically what that means is life expectancy is typically around 80, 85 years old. Okay. But our health starts degenerating around the 55, 65 mark. And instead of quality life in our golden years, we end up being diagnosed with disease, cancers, illness. So they do have a passion for let's make those golden years count. Let's not get diagnosed with the diseases and illnesses that we can prevent. And let's actually enjoy our life so that instead of just aging, managing through life, we're actually enjoying and have quality of life. So that's how they talk about. They give basic about cells. And for those of us that Mary, you've been to almost every single one of these trainings, you know exactly what you're seeing by now on the screen. That is a blood cell. That is a healthy cell, nice and round. This is what we want to see. Typically, they're not blue, but for aesthetics purposes, that's how they put it. And then we have telomeres. Telomeres are nucleotides on the end of chromosomes, and you can think of these as protective plastic tabs in the end of your shoelace that prevent it from unraveling. Your DNA provides the code for how quickly healthy cells age and die. Our telomeres protect this DNA from damage, and unfortunately, the shorter these telomeres are, due to epigenetics, so that's everything that can be influenced in the DNA, the shorter our lifespan will be and how we will age faster. So we want to lengthen these telomeres, and this is what nucleogenics specializes in. Genetic expression versus nurture expression. So nucleogenics only tests the genes that can be activated. They do not test the genes that no matter what you do will not change. So testing the genes that cannot change is pointless because it is who you are no matter what. Testing the genes that they can wake up and support and get working correctly makes all the difference. So these genetic expressions typically only play a 10% role in how well we age. What we are exposed to and how we nurture ourselves and how we grew up is the rest of the 90%. And I always like to use the analogy of a farmer driving a tractor into a field to feed his cows. If he uses the same trail year after year after year after year, eventually he doesn't have to drive that tractor at all. He can just put the tires in the grooves and it drives itself. It's not going anywhere. So this is genetic expression, okay? This is the pathway that we can go down. Now, nature versus nurture can take this genetic expression and say, you know what? I don't want to go down this road anymore. I'm actually going to turn the wheel slightly. And as the farmer turns the wheel slightly, he actually gets out of the grooves. And instead of going in a straight line, he just turns at 5 degrees. And we end up in a whole different little level field. So it doesn't matter. Don't want to say it doesn't matter, but small changes. I always say 1% is better than 0%. If we're better by 1%, 52 weeks out of the year, that's going to be 52% better over the whole year, right? 2%, same thing, right? If we're 90% better, take that over a year, how much better would we be feeling after 365 days? Action-based genetics, that's exactly what I told you, just talked about. And then they test SNPs. So SNPs are whether your gene is working correctly or not. So in the Healthy Aging Report, they are color-coded. They are green, yellow, and red. Green or 0 means fantastic. Your gene needs no support. 1 or yellow is kind of like a couch potato. It works sometimes, but not all the time. It gets up, gets snacks, maybe changes the channel, sits back down, falls asleep. Your 2 or your red, I always like to compare to a hibernating bear that never wakes up. It's sleeping. It is like your teenager that sleeps in the bedroom all the time. And no matter what, they will not get up. So we want these to wake up. How do we do this? Well, first of all, we test our DNA. And we start looking at the results. So when I look at these results, I'm focusing on the reds and the yellows. The greens mean that you're perfect here. So we don't really need to address these. So APOB is a heart gene. This is also a cholesterol gene. It explains how the heart ages. So already I know to start watching for the heart, right? Because this gene is sleeping. So I'm going to ask questions on, is there cardiac disease in your family? Has anybody had a heart attack? Anything that I need to know about that will help me interpret your results and know what pathways you're feeding into versus not. The CRP, this is healthy inflammatory response. So this is also a heart indicator. And this actually causes more pain in the body. So somebody that doesn't have this gene as a green is going to feel more inflammation. So any inflammation of the body, whether it's due to injury, illness, cancers, disease, they're going to feel it more than if an individual was green in this area. Healthy blood pressure. This is very self-explanatory. This is also a red. So now this is 3 heart indicators. So I'm really curious on like what their eating habits are, what their sleeping patterns are, what their stress levels are, because we all know that that affects the heart. Detoxification with this part, it's fantastic. Not worried here. Healthy weight management. So the FTO, and I'm going to be really blunt here, they call this the fat gene. Okay. And in your healthy weight report, there are 6 different FTOs that they test for. Your healthy aging one, they test for 2. Typically, if you have this, you're going to struggle with weight. You're going to wonder why your best friend can have all of the snacks and maintain their perfect figure. And if you have so much as 1 chocolate bar a week, you gain 5 pounds. This explains it because your body holds on to those calories a lot more than if you were your friend. Vitamin B12, this is really important. This is cellular repair. This is cellular health. This is energy. This is gas in your tank. So people that have chronic fatigue typically will show this gene. We can wake this gene up. Now you can go to the health food store, pick out a vitamin B12, start taking it. The problem with that is that if your gene is not being woken up and is staying a yellow and doesn't have the support that it needs to absorb that vitamin B12, you're going to have really bright yellow and fluorescent orange urine, which is an indicator that you are not absorbing it at all. Just expensive urine, Mary. So it's really important that we get that gene activation in there. IL-6, healthy immune system. So this is responsible for recurrent illness. So whether it's you get bronchitis or pneumonia every year, no matter what, if you get the flu every year, no matter what, this gene is responsible for that. We need to wake it up and strengthen that. So the MTHFR gene, there is 2 sides of the coin here, and this could be a whole coaching session because I am really passionate about this. If they did genetic testing on infants as soon as they were born to see what genes were awake and which ones were not, they would have to change their whole medical protocols because the MTHFR is a major detoxifier gene. And if this one is not working correctly, then things can cross into the blood-brain barrier so much easier and cause inflammation in the brain. When you have this gene that's not working correctly, you can't have fortified food. You can't have enriched food. So enriched whole wheat flour, fortified milk, fortified juices, fortified pastas. You're actually increasing your toxic load to your body because you cannot break down those synthetic ingredients. That means any form of synthetic, you have a harder time detoxifying. And I will relate that even to your clothes. So if you're using a lot of synthetic fibers in your clothes and you have this gene, your body's not going to be able to sweat correctly. And so it's going to increase your toxic overload. Your body, your skin, we talked about how it's the biggest, largest organ of the body and your first layer of defense. If your skin can't breathe correctly, it cannot detoxify correctly. So this gene, so passionate about. I know that when I got medical testing for this, they said I was fine, didn't have any problems with this gene. When I got my genetic reports here, I was actually really good in one area because it's 2 sides of the coin on this gene and really bad on another area. So the medical system does not test both sides of the coin. And that is really important because even if you have one side of the coin not working correctly, you've got a problem with detoxification and you need help. You need methylated supplements that are already broken down for you so that you can easily absorb them and that they don't cause more toxins in the body. MTHFR, this is another major detox gene. So when you're not detoxing correctly, your inflammation in your body is going to be more. So that makes brain fog, migraines, headache, really smelly OB or BO, not the tampon, BO. um, you get really smelly like discharge, fecal matter, movements, urine, because we can't detoxify correctly. If we're not detoxifying correctly, our liver is stressed. And if our liver is stressed, we know from previous trainings that I've done is that it has no choice but to recirculate toxins and used up hormones back into the system versus getting out, increasing that toxic load, making your symptoms even worse. It can lead to leaky gut. A lot of alternative professionals talk about that, but it's so much more than leaky gut because I've seen in the hormonal testing that I do that you can have a perfect colon and you can treat the colon all day long. You take the probiotics, get on a gut protocol, everything starts in the gut. But if the liver is not working for detoxification, which is related to MTHFR and MTRR, you can take that gut protocol all you want. It's not going to do you any good. You're wasting your money and you got really expensive leftover bodily fluids. Okay, so CoQ10, this is another, we know this as an anti-agent, but it's also a heart indicator. It is what keeps our heart healthy. So this person has 5 out of 7 heart markers. Do I want to start protecting their heart? Do I want to start waking up their genes? Do I want them actually absorbing their nutrients that are beneficial through their foods to support their heart? 100% I do. PONE, this is oxidization, this is healthy cells, this is great, free radical defense. We know from other trainings that we've done, free radicals look like bumpy spikes on a blood cell under a live cell analysis. Healthy inflammatory response. We have more than one inflammatory response. This person has so many inflammatory markers, and yet only one of them is working optimally. And then vitamin D receptor. They're doing fantastic here. I love this, and I'm very jealous of this because I'm a red here. And when you're green, it means that you are absorbing and getting all the vitamin D that you need from the sun and from the foods that you consume. When you are a yellow or a red, that means that you do not do that. And we know that if you are a red, then you actually absorb 70% less than somebody who is ranked normal. So for me, I can be in the sun all day long, 8 hours a day, and I will only absorb 30% of the vitamin D that the sun is supposed to give me. And then if I use sunscreen, well, sunscreen inhibits the production of vitamin D. So I need to get it somewhere. How do I do that without increasing my toxic overload? So you have these results. It's going to go and it's going to break down things, what you can do nutritionally to help support these genes. Okay. So it's going to give you a lot of options. So eat more healthy fat, include micronutrients, rich leafy greens. It gives you certain supplement things to take. So extracts are huge. Okay. They're more potent than just eating grape skin, just eating pomegranate. Extracts are the essence of them and the most potent. But then this is where I geek out. We get into the supplement, okay? So the very last page of this report shows you exactly what they would put in your supplement if you were to choose to take it. But I want you to look at the dosages here. Okay, I'm going to just make my screen a little bit larger if that just minimizes here for a moment. There we go. Oh, so first of all, per capsule. So ideally they want you to take twice daily, 5 capsules. So ideally they want you to take 5 in the morning and 5 in the afternoon, just so that you can continually activate that DNA. Okay. I have never gotten to 5, or I've never gotten to 10. And the reason for that is, and I learned a few years ago that I don't make a whole lot of melatonin. I don't sleep. And so if I were to take 10 of my supplements, I won't even, nope, sleep is not even in my radar, okay? It's got so many vitamin Bs and such high percentages that like I could run for miles, but the body heals in sleep. We need to sleep. We go insane without sleep, okay? Sleep is crucial. So when I'm working with clients, I say, you know what? Let's start slow because these are therapeutic dosages. You're going to start at 2. Wait 2 or 3 days. Then we're going to go up to 3 and we're going to see what your tolerance is, okay? I've had some clients get up to 10. I've had some clients stop at 6. So it really depends. Okay. So when we're looking at the dosages, it'll lower the, sorry guys, I'm going to make it smaller. Okay. When we're looking, okay, so when 27% times 2, okay, that's how much percentage. Look at what the vitamin D3 is for this person. Even though they are green, 204%, which, if they take the full dose, is 408% of the daily dose. And this is because of what the other genes are doing. If they go to vitamin K2, right, 105%. So full dose is 210%. Then we go into the vitamin B12. 124%. Now, this is a really actually good one because I'm in the 24,000 for fat. So when I say that I don't sleep if I take 10, I don't sleep because all of my vitamin Bs are really high. If I were to go to a drug food store and pick out all of these vitamins and then do the calculations of what I should be taking, that's like thousands of dollars. And I can't do that. So this is your multivitamin, okay, in the correct dosages that you need. But like I said, you can go and take a multivitamin off the shelves. If you don't have that DNA activation, you got expensive urine. So the next part of your supplement includes all of the proprietary blends for every single gene that is a yellow or a red, and it wakes up that genetic expression. So my DNA supplement is very different from my sister's. We look like doppelgangers, so different genetically. So it's really important to know how to wake up these genes, know how to support them, and what pathway you're going down and how to correct those pathways. And the sooner we do that, the better chance our body has in reversing whatever harmful pathway we've started to develop. Does that make sense? I want to see nods, thumbs up. All right, awesome. So that is the Healthy Aging Report. And very quickly, I'm going to show you the Healthy Weight Report. And I'm just going to jump to the actual like ones and twos, okay? Because everything else is the same in it, where like they tell you who nucleogenics is, what they believe, what SNPs are, what telomeres and cells are. So this is a healthy aging report, all right? Unfortunately, we don't have the yellows and the greens and the reds to quickly laser in, all right? But with this one, you actually see, so body composition, obesity risk, that's a 0. But lipid fats, metabolism, that's a 1. Caffeine metabolizer. Now, this one's a liar a little bit, okay? So yes, it is a caffeine metabolizer. But if you as a woman have this, it's a breast cancer risk. So we go into more detail. So when you do a DNA test through me, not only do you get your results, but when you get your results, we have a 2-hour consult so that I can unpack exactly what your reports mean. And we create action plans so that like you can start implementing things in life, not just supplements. Because again, I say this all the time, we can recommend all the supplements in the world. But if you don't have the life that matches what you want your supplements to do, you're going to hit a really low glass ceiling every single time, and you're going to wonder why you keep plateauing out and then falling down. So we have to create that life that matches. And that's why I take the time to go over your reports and then create action steps for you so that you can not only make decisions on what supplements you take, but also how you're going to make your life match and what life changes need to start happening. Dopamine addictive behavior. So this person actually gets more enjoyment from their food than sitting down for a cup of coffee with their best. And if it's a 2, it's even more severe. So their dopamines get hit here. So easy addictive foods, nicotine, alcohol, narcotics, this person gets more hits from that and more enjoyment. And that's why you get people that they say addictive personality. This is why. And I'm going to throw my sister under the bus here because she like it when she hyperfixates, it's like, no, this is it. Like coffee, 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 wine, 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 cigarettes, cigarettes, cigarettes. Sorry, Joy. But this is why, because she is a 1 here and I'm a 0. So like I can quit smoking like that. If I don't want to drink, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Makes me nauseous. Go away. The body actually does not like it. Coffee, I can quit it like that. Do I want to? Absolutely not. I enjoy it. Right. So it's a morning hug for me. But I don't need it. I can do without it. I could take it or leave it. Right. I get more enjoyment from my human experience with other people than I do from substances or foods. And then remember the FTO genes? So this person is a one all the way down. So this person does struggle with weight. They fluctuate up, down, and it never seems to fully come off. Okay, so when we have the FTO genes, then this means, are we counting calories? No, but we are increasing healthy fat. We are increasing proteins and the correct proteins for you, because you could be a vegan and all of a sudden you learn that, like, oh, you do better on animal protein. And I've had vice versa. So, and then I've had people in between where they could do animal protein or plant protein and their body thrive, right? So we learn right away when you're working with me what proteins work best for you. It's not a fad that I follow. We actually listen to the body and what it needs and what it's indicating, versus like, oh, go carnivore, go keto, go vegan, go vegetarian, go Mediterranean, go paleo, go Atkins, whatever else is out there, right? Weight Watchers, Herbalife, right? Like, it's so many. Like, if these industries worked, they would work for every single body, and they don't. So when you actually tune in and listen to the body and learn what you do best on, then we can actually support these FTO genes. So they're not running you, you're running them. LEPR, so this is leptin. This is a regulation of body weight. So this person like has this working for them in their favor. So that's fantastic. That's why they can lose weight. They just don't stay there all the time. MTHFR, remember, this is like metabolism, this is detoxification. If you don't have this working correctly for you, it's going to cause you problem. And then the NMB. So this is the increased hunger gene. This is people that like, and then an hour later be starving, right? Because their body sends the hunger signals out. It's forgotten that it's eaten. Okay, so this person is going to be looking for snacks, right? Like they're going to have a really good dinner. And then an hour or two later, they're going to go, I need some chip. I need some cookies. I need like chocolate. I need something. Like they want snack. SH2B1, this is obesity and diabetes, right? And I see this in the urine when I do hormonal testing too. If you are in this risk level, it's going to show up in your urine and show me what pathways, like how close are you to that diagnosis, or are you already in that diagnosis? Can we reverse it, right? Depends if you're type 1 or type 2. TUB, again, this is carbohydrates, diabetes, obesity. So this person I know has a family history of diabetes. The genes are working against them, but with the right supports nutritionally and life and supplementally, if they choose to do that, we can start slowing things down and possibly reverse. UCPL1, again, insulin resistance. This person is going to feel fatigued so easily. This person is going to have brain fog more easily than, somebody who doesn't have this gene working against them. So there's a lot of things that we can do lifestyle ways to help support it. But if we don't know that these are a factor, how do we support it? We're just throwing water at the wall, hoping it sticks, right? I don't throw water at the wall. I figure it out. And I create things that are going to be lasting for you, because genetics don't change. This is you from the time you were cell number 1 until the time you are no more. So this is why I also love DNA testing, because doctors can argue with the hormonal testing that I do all they want. They can say, no, I'm not going to recognize that. But DNA, it's a complete science. DNA is DNA, and you can show them the reports and they cannot argue it. There's also a gene in here on the weight report that actually is linked to obesity. And there's actually a medical treatment. You can get an injection for that. And it's not an Ozempic. It's actually like a hormone. Why are we not testing for that? Why are we not helping people with this? Right? Why do people like me have to go down the rabbit hole and then figure these things out and then educate their clients on how to talk to their doctors and what to ask for? So that's the training on the DNA testing. If you have any questions, if you're in Facebook land, please put them in the comments. If you want to have a consult and learn more about this, please let me know. And with that, I'm going to stop the live.